Okay, we'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2. Krista Raymer, it's been several weeks, maybe a month plus, since we had you on Cultivated Live. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. It's fall. We're getting ready to sell lots of weed.
Good. Well, good. Hopefully you can help people do that. To remind folks, you are the Chief Strategy Officer at C3 Industries. Before that, people may know you and recognize you from Vitrina Group. And if they are not already, I'll put in the show notes how to follow you on LinkedIn, which is what I want to talk to you about today. Kind of not about following me on LinkedIn, but something you posted on LinkedIn about AOV, average order value, being not BS, but not a great metric for cannabis. And it brought to mind a lot. I happen to have a child in middle school, not middle school math because it's more complicated than that, but words like mode and median and mean. I know what they mean. Mean is average. Median is a number smack dab in the middle, and mode is the thing that's most often. Talk to me about what you wrote on LinkedIn, because it was I'm not sure it was a hot take, but it was an important read.
Yeah, I come from traditional retail before ever getting into cannabis, and we used to use average basket size all the time to be able to coach teams. We want to increase sales, we want to increase the average basket size. Those two things would be used as correlation, and then really as a direction to be able to guide sales. And the time that we've spent in cannabis and the time that I've spent in cannabis, I have really, looked at the data and I'm like, I don't think that this is always true. And I was like, okay, well, why would that be the case? And so anytime that we have product or transactions that are like varied in terms of total price, it's going to create a lot of disruption in the data points. And so we started to take a look at average basket size by price band a couple of years ago to understand where the majority of the transactions are taking place. And as we've been working together at C3, one of the things that we have found in our own stores is very rarely is the average basket size, which we might pull out of the POS or in kind of like traditional retail metrics, correlate to the majority of the transactions. In most instances, it's sub 15% of transactions being in that price band. So what that actually says is that barely any customers are actually purchasing in the average way. And the reason why that is because we have some transactions that are high in terms of dollar value, and then we have a lot of transactions that are low. And so they punch below their weight class when it comes to total number of customers purchasing in that way. And then the high spend customers are punching above their weight class, and it makes it seem like we have more of them. And so if we use average to guide behavior or coach within the stores, we're coaching to nobody, because the team is like, okay, our average basket size is $65, but no customers are purchasing. I never see that transaction happen. So like, how does this happen?
Right. So you're saying, well, one, you give a good example. Like if you put a billionaire in the average sort of income in a community, they're going to sort of make the average so high, but not relevant to really anybody. So what you're saying, you tell me, like, are there, say, 3 tiers, like low, medium, and high? And the high tier, we're trying to get big transactions, a $200 transaction to be $220 and a $20 transaction to be $30. Like, is that sort of more how you think about it? So there are average basket sizes, but they're really in tiers. And so think about it like that, because then it really does make more sense about how to increase a $20 basket size and a $200 basket size, but not necessarily a $67 basket size.
Yeah. And even within there, you might see or be able to note some correlation and identify, actually, we have some pricing sensitivity at certain points. So like maybe our particular customer is sensitive to $40 out the door. Like we need to be sub $40 out the door. And that's where we see the majority of the transactions. And is that because of the customer's pricing sensitivity, or is that just like organically because of the price points of the products in store? Then if you want to take it to like the high school level version of this is also to make considerations about frequency.
Uh,
And so the customer that is spending lower dollar values, we notice a higher frequency, whereas the customers who are spending more have a lower frequency. So there's always going to be trade-off then too. So in some of these customer groups, we might recommend to our team to try and grow basket size, but in other instances, we might actually not. We're just like, let's see the customer back in store in the next 7 days and we're going to be happy as a client. So I think like this data makes looking at average basket size just incredibly complicated as a strong tool to coach our teams against. And we've got to take a more nuanced approach, both in terms of how we execute an average basket size, but also in how we coach our teams.
yeah. Just looking at average order value. So average basket size is like playing chess. And the way you're talking about is more like, sorry, that's checkers. And
Checkers.
Then more complex is chess. I'm so complicated. I'm so screwed up. I got the analogy wrong. But really, that's what you're saying. Like, you really want to be playing chess because there's more variables than just this. All the transactions divided, and then divided by the number of transactions, and then you have the average. It's much more complex than that, especially if you want to move the number. And then I would say move the number, but then actually train the team on the ground, front seats to this to actually do it.
Yeah. And like within our own portfolio, we see a lot of variety within a state. Different types of store locations result in different types of basket sizes. By state, we see a lot of different variety as well. And so if we sum it up, all the way up to the top, we might be able to say like, what's our trend line looking like? But I've started to use this term of like, it's a temperature check. It's kind of like, are we doing similar things? Are we doing different things than what we used to be? But if we want to think about what actions we need to take, we're going to need to look at a different set of KPIs to know that.
Yeah, and just going back to the frequency part, because I am a student of Krista and what she says, and the frequency part of it is if the $20 person's coming every other week, is there something we can get them to come once more, either once more a month, once more a quarter, twice more a year, like that type of frequency. And the aggregate for that customer, or maybe that customer band, we will increase the aggregate spend over the course of a year, but maybe not per transaction, but actually frequency is an important factor too. And looking at that customer, the frequent customer, the really good customer that keeps coming back, the loyal customer, how do we get more from that customer and give more, right? It goes both ways.
I'll give a really good example that we found in our own store. So we would celebrate when a customer would spend more than the average. But the reality is that the customer that spent slightly more than the average, but wasn't like the big spender, at the end of a year, they were actually spending less than the customer that was spending like $20 per transaction, but was coming all the time. And so within a year's time horizon, the unintended consequence of that is that we were celebrating these customers that weren't coming as frequently, or maybe were not as loyal, whereas we were under supporting, under appreciating our customers that are coming all the time. And like that alone could be a big difference between if the customer chooses to continue to come to us or go to another store, how valued they feel. And at the end of the day, this is a business that is built off of a lot of little transactions. We need to be able to retain our customer and see frequency to continue to see stores grow.
Are you ready for another layer of the education via Krista? And you want to get that, even the small customer buying $20 at a time every other week. How do we move them to more profitable products that we want to be selling as opposed to necessarily maybe what they want to be buying?
Oh, that now we're talking university level stuff. Oh, Jay, come on.
I feel like I should agree.
The next level is definitely to start to think about the profitability of those transactions and where we might have room from a margin perspective for sure.
Yeah, see, I do pay attention. Not everybody says that I do. Certainly my family doesn't. But in this scenario, I've been learning a lot from you over time, from cannabis, but also if you listen to you and watch all the things you've talked about on this program and others, like you will be a smarter consumer too, and understand sort of how your shopping is being interpreted by retailers like C3.
Like, I have adjusted my purchasing because of all of our conversations.
Yes, yeah. I'm not sure that I have, but I certainly look at it differently than I have before. And I also, it's hard when you don't sort of see the back end or back of house from a shopping experience, but sometimes you know that they're doing it wrong just by the way the experience is going. And that must be frustrating from your perspective, not necessarily when you're shopping at C3, which is super buttoned down, but when you're shopping at others to see what they're doing, to say, oh my goodness, they could be doing these 3 things. And the whole experience from a customer perspective will be different, from a sale perspective, from average order value, from the band that I'm buying in, like from that interaction, from loyalty, could be slightly different and much more effective.
See, I have this experience now where I'm like shopping online or in a store that isn't a cannabis store, and I'm like, why is this product in this position? And like, is it aligned to what I might want? Is this aligned to the customer might want? Or is this like aligned to profitability goals? Or is like this aligned because this product is aging out? I can't shop now without questioning why something is getting highlighted. And so now I'm like, oh, I don't want to be buying anything that is promoted. But because I'm like, I don't understand what the intention is here. But I do think that there is a lot that is done within things like grocery stores, or even like in the beauty industry, that is really interesting when we start to think about highlighting the right product and basket composition. What
Yeah.
are the products that are going in there? What's the profitability? How does that relate with our customer behavior and the customer retention over time?
Yeah. I was just thinking about Amazon. I bought something on Amazon, and then it showed me like commonly bought with this, like as you scroll
Mhm.
down. And I'm like, of course, how do they know? But like, it wasn't super natural, the thing they were recommended,
No, a lot of them are completely unrelated.
but good. But like,
Um,
the algorithm knows.
it's like you're buying a pack of pencils and now you're being recommended Swiffer cloths. It's not like the lead with the
No,
pencils, which
no.
would be kind of like a typical thought
Yeah.
process. It is like something completely unrelated, but also something that you're probably like, huh, I do need those.
And Krista, I'm going to put another plug for people to follow you on LinkedIn, because you often post really interesting things, of course. But this one in particular, I think will catch people's eye, and I encourage them to follow it. So I'll put up how to find you on LinkedIn and follow you there, and hope to have you back in short order.
Thanks, Jay.
Well,
We will
happy
be
fall.
back.
Happy fall.
Thank you.
And we will connect with you. So I don't know if you're wearing a vest. It looks like you're wearing a vest, but I think it's a sweater.
Like a sweater vest. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
well,
fall.
it's cold in Michigan. It's probably colder in Michigan than it has been here in Toronto, because it's like almost midsummer here. Like it's in the
It's
20s today.
it's nice today.
Sorry, in
Started
the
off
20s.
fresh.
I say to you it's in the 20s, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the 60s.
I
So
don't know what that means in Fahrenheit, but I hear you.
it's in the 60s, it's in the 20s, in the 20 Celsius, 60s Fahrenheit. Krista, in the Fahrenheit land, good to see you. And we hope
Nice
to
to
see
see you
you
too,
here
Jay.
in the Celsius land at some point, or somewhere between. Thanks for making time. And remember, follow Krista on LinkedIn. Thanks, Krista.
Thanks, Jay.
You got it. We'll talk to you soon.